This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports, coming your way, a mailbag where I take all of your questions, your concerns, and you're able to open up the floor and share whatever you want to share about the San Francisco 49ers. All of these questions and comments coming in from our loyal subscribers. So if you want to be involved in our mailbags, make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below. A real one, Evan Hinder, starting it off with this. 49ers send all the injuries. They should sign LIndsay, Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, Adrian Peterson, or trade for Kareem Hunt. So you want the 49ers to sign all of those guys or just one of them? Let's look at it on a player-for-player basis. LIndsay, I'm actually pretty good on. Todd Gurley is so washed, unfortunately. He's got that bone-on-bone in his knee, so he really doesn't have any explosiveness left. Le'Veon Bell kicked Adrian Peterson's ass in that boxing match. AP, classic amateur boxer move, dropped his hands and got punched right in the face, and he was seeing the birdies. But Le'Veon also is just washed. Adrian Peterson is probably the best among those other guys that we talked about. Trading for Kareem Hunt would be great because that dual threat ability coming out of the backfield makes him really, really special. There are also some other names to keep an eye on there. Evan, Dearness Johnson with the Cleveland Browns. There are other teams with backup running backs. You have Marlon Mack on the practice squad. You elevate him to the active roster. He can help San Francisco out. But there's no doubt that the concerning trend of injuries at that running back spot under Kyle Shanahan, a little bit concerning, but we know he likes to run the football and play that physical brand. I'm just there 8. What do you got? When is George Kittle coming back? So he was a game-time decision against the Chicago Bears in Week 1, and the decision to not play him went up until kickoff. And the same can be said about going into Week 2. He tried to test out the groin prior to that Seahawks game. I think with Garoppolo now starting and him getting a little bit healthier, he's probably going to give it a go with his boy against the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football. He's been close to playing, so you would imagine with yet another week, he'll be able to get back on the field. 49ers have really struggled without him in the lineup ever since he's gotten injured after signing that big deal. Andrew Lucero next up on deck. Russ less in Denver. I like that. Rustless in Denver. Restless in Denver? I see what you're saying there. Look, let's keep it real on Russell Wilson, right? He has been an average quarterback over the last year and change. He wasn't that good if you look at the numbers with the Seahawks last year, albeit with that injury. He still wasn't good. Even the end of the prior season, he wasn't all that good. They haven't won a playoff game in several years. And so far throughout 2 games, he's been underwhelming. They weren't able to capitalize in the red zone Week 1 against Seattle. Same can be said against the feisty Houston Texans in Week 2. The Broncos, and this is part on Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett, they have converted on zero of their red zone trips up to this point through 2 weeks. With the quarterback who just signed that deal, that's unacceptable. 0 in the red zone so far for this Broncos offense. Speaking of this game, I want you to predict the score right now in the comments section. Hey, can't wait for it. Sunday Night Football watch party here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. We know that prior to last Sunday, San Francisco had lost 17 of 20 to Seattle. A lot of that because of Russell Wilson. Now, San Francisco hopefully can take him down in a different uniform. It would be very sweet. Score predictions in right now. Danny, with using other athletes from other sports, what do you think about using a sumo wrestler for the offensive and defensive lines? That is hilarious, Danny. And in theory, you're like, okay, some of these sumo wrestlers, let's say 350 pounds, clogging the lane. They can't move. They get winded. They operate in very tight spaces. You know, a sumo wrestling ring is just a ring. They're not having to rush the passer, tackle a running back, get out in space, chase down a QB, and then also get downfield for the next play. Short area quickness and explosiveness for them. Their stamina is awful. And actually, I'll tell you this, like Jake Brendel is a smaller center. I think that he would be able to just toss a sumo wrestler during the course of a football game because they would tire down. I understand where you're coming from, but different types of athletes there. I really appreciate that. That was fun. Hanif Razak. What's good, Hanif? Considering that there are reports out there saying that Trey might come back in December, what is more likely? Jimmy G wins MVP or Trey Lance plays this year and takes us to the Super Bowl? I don't think that Trey Lance comes back. Look, his ankle was pointed sideways. It was weird. It was nasty. It didn't look good. So some reports out there that he might come back at the end of the year. I don't think that that's in play. I think he's out for the season, and I think that's probably best for him. Now, if Jimmy G gets injured and Trey Lance is closing in on a comeback, that would be improbable and epic, but I just don't see how he comes back this year. It's really unfortunate for him and his development. Evan Hinders with another one. In my early mock draft, I had the Niners taking Bijan Robinson. So it's going to be tight, Evan. I love the player. Him as a running back, best in the country, him as a pass-catching option is what really intrigues me as he pivots to the NFL level after playing with Texas, just a star. He might be a first-round pick. In my team philosophy, I don't like taking running backs in the first round, but he might be that good where you take him in the 20s for a team that, maybe coming off a deep playoff run, a Super Bowl successful season, you have a need at that running back spot. Bijan Robinson, yeah, producer Coop, he loves him. He's a Texas Longhorns fan. Horns down for him. Subscribe to the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I actually don't mind Texas. YouTube.com/49ers TV. Better yet, hit that red sub button down below. Videos coming your way every single day. News, rumors, analysis, live shows, watch parties, pregame shows. We absolutely do it all in a very entertaining, educational, informative fashion. So hit that red sub button right now. Nick Fury, Seahawks fan. I thought Geno Smith could get it against San Francisco, but the Niners proved to be the better team. Congrats on the win. Let's have another good game in Week 15. So it wasn't a good game in Week 2, though. I mean, it was a complete, utter, dominant performance for the Niners. The only time that the Seahawks could score was on a blocked field goal. That was it. Offense got shut down. Geno Smith reverted back to being that backup quarterback that he is. And that's the thing about backup quarterbacks. They're not sustainable. They're not consistent. And the Seahawks are a roster that's just one of the bottom rosters in the NFL. And I think San Francisco is one of the better rosters in the NFL. So Seattle, bad. Niners, really good. It clearly was a matchup that favored the Niners across the board. Chewalore, what up? Should Jordan Mason play on Sunday night? Yeah, he should play. He kind of has to now with Ty Davis-Price being hurt. It's going to be Jeff Wilson and Jordan Mason. Those are the top two backs, and then probably Marlon Mack elevated to the active roster to be another active running back because they're somewhat thin there. Be kind of nice to have JaMychal Hasty right about now, but they kept Trey Sermon over him, and that's a decision I didn't like at the time. It is football season. What does that mean? Great time to get those bets in. Make sure you do so with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. 125% deposit bonus for the faithful if you head to chatsports.com/49bet, promo code Niners125. You look at the odds for this game in Denver, even though it's a tough place to play, even though San Francisco is going up against Russell Wilson, even though they're on the road, they are 1-point favorites. Usually the home team gets about 3. So if this was a home game for the Niners, they'd be about 4-point favorites. The over-under at 45. So get those bets in. If you want to bet on that game, you can. Other prop bets available as well. San Fran 49 with the $5 super chat. Since Trey Lance is hurt now, who should the Niners go to as a backup for Jimmy? I'm not sold on Brock Purdy as a good number 2. Maybe Cam Newton thoughts. Now, keep in mind that the 49ers may have made a move at the quarterback spot by the time that you're watching this, but the 49ers did work out some quarterbacks today on Tuesday. Kurt Benkert, A.J. McCarron, Garrett Gilbert, and Kevin Hogan, and then Mike Glennon as well. So I think those are more so the players they're going to look at. For me, Cam Newton, he's been a sub 60% completion percentage guy many times throughout his NFL career. That's not good enough, and I don't think that he's that good of a quarterback. So, yeah, the names, a little bit thin. Can he get Ryan Fitzpatrick out of retirement? He might be one of my number 1 options out there. With this game on Sunday, it's a big one. Niners golden opportunity at stake with the Rams awaiting another primetime game in Week 4. DEN for the Broncos, SF for the 49ers. Get your game predictions in right now. Salt, water, silver. What it do? Bosa looks great so far. If I'm correct, he has 3 sacks already. Do you think he will be Defensive Player of the Year? Right now, Micah Parsons probably going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons has had an insane year on top of already what he did last year. My boy Tom Downey, host of the Cowboys Report, with some interesting stuff this week on Micah Parsons. I'm scrolling down to get the exact numbers. I think that Nick Bosa is clearly capable of being Defensive Player of the Year, but he's competing with some really, really good players to win that, sought-after award. Nick Bosa has looked good. He does have, 3 sacks now? He had 2 against the Seahawks, 1 against the Chicago Bears. He has all the makings of being one of the best defenders in the NFL. He already is, but I'm talking Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's only a matter of time before, he becomes that type of guy. I'm looking for those stats from Micah Parsons from my guy Tom Downey. Let me see if I can just pull him up. This is what you call bad TV. Okay, so through 2 games, Parsons has 13 pressures on 60 pass rush snaps, 21.6% pressure rate, almost the same as last year on a higher volume of pass rush reps so far. So Bosa's close, Parsons, Myles Garrett, they're all going to be a part of that conversation. If you made it this far in our mailbag and you're subscribed to the channel and you're about that Real One life, first of all, get yourself a Real One shirt, but also type Real One. We'll try to show you some love in the comment section right now.